Welcome back to my second channel. It happens to be a Monday evening, and one of my activities is a member of a trade union at work. Well, I'm not a shop steward, I'm just only the directive and a member. Now, like all Western countries, there are more elderly people in retirement and in pensions than actually so-called new youth which are approaching on the working world. Obviously there's been a series of reforms here in Italy, Article 18, which sells away workers' rights, which is guaranteed by the 1970 Workers' Charter. That means they have lesser rights when they get employed, lesser welfare cover, sickness cover as well, and sick pay. And they will probably get less pension than we do, because there's going to be a lot of pensioners and very little, new workers. And obviously these left-wing governments thinking, why don't we let so-called immigrants come in, and therefore they can pay the pensions of their Italians. Well, most of these people, these so-called immigrants or boat people or dinghy divers, they're on Italian welfare, which is paid by the Italian taxpayer, and therefore it's not going to contribute to the welfare system regarding pensions. They don't work, because if they don't work, they're under the so-called limit of earning. The Legge Fornero, which pushes up the retirement age to 67 for men. For women, I think it was 60 or 61, don't remember. And the so-called Quattrocento, the 100 quotes, which you can go in retirement a lot more earlier without, losing your pension, a part of it, you should say. Well, it's happened to a person who worked in 2023 before he went in pension. I think he worked, and the welfare, which is here in Italy, which pays pensions and other type of benefits to people here in Italy, they asked him for 29,000 euro. And the reason why is because he didn't went with the usual system, which most people do, pensione sanità, stuff like that. When you have compute a tot of working years, whether it's 40, 41, you can go in pension, and they calculate on that. The thing is, he can't do any part-time jobs while he's in pension. While the people who go normally in pension, they can, as long as they don't superate 5,000 euro as earnings every year from that. It's absolutely disgusting in a certain way, because here in Italy, that what you give as contributes for the pension, you don't get all of it back as a pension when you go in retirement. My old man, before he went in retirement, I said, best you have the pension sent directly from the UK, which there was a convention in Italy for that. Instead of converting your pension into Italian pension, you would get more lesser as British pension. That's another story. And so this poor pension has to pay 29,000 euro to IMSS, while the other workers, they can go, they can work part-time, so they don't superate 5,000 euro limits. I'm seeing the future regarding pensions, 15 to 20 years time, whether you're going to get it or not, or whether within 40 years time it begins to work every few years or beginning work now will have a pension. They probably will have to have a private one, which in the end, with the standard of living and the high costs which we're living, it's not enough. You probably get around about €300 equivalent in the future of equivalent of person who gets a full pension today, youngsters. So what future do they have? It'll be all part-time. You won't be able to do a family. You won't be able to buy a house because there's not work guaranteed all the time. And who these days will give you what you would call it, a bank loan or loan for a house without certain guarantees. You know, the youth are screwed in this country, and obviously there's no opportunities for the Italian youth in Italy. That's why they're leaving. If you have an opportunity somewhere else, a better life, sod off. If your home country doesn't give you a more rosier future, then where you live, you have to go where the thing is. This is the cruel reality of living in Western countries. And the fact is, you've got full of immigrants, which does the so-called jobs which Westerners don't do anymore. Some, but most of them, they live off the welfare system, especially the dinghy divers, the so-called asylum seekers. That will be another story, how much it's costing each welfare system in the West in each country.